Hello, and a very warm welcome to This Explainer. I'm so incredibly glad you've joined us today. Here at Pratimoksha, Dubai's premier yoga studio, we really pride ourselves on creating a calm, inviting, and honestly, a truly transformative atmosphere for our practitioners and aspiring teachers alike. So, if you're exploring the path of becoming a yoga instructor, or maybe you're looking to advance your current teaching qualifications, well, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're going to take a structured, engaging look at the whole yoga teaching journey, specifically mapping out the evolution from your very first 200-hour training to the much deeper 500-hour credential. Okay, let's dive right into this.
Right, so RI 200, RYT 500, E-RYT, YACEP. I mean, let's be honest, these letters look like they belong on some complicated government tax form, don't they? In our experience talking with prospective teachers here at Pratimoksha, this whole alphabet soup of credentials can make the beautiful, soulful enterprise of teaching yoga feel, well, overwhelmingly bureaucratic. It can be super confusing to figure out where to even start. But listen, I promise you, by the end of this session, we are going to completely demystify all these acronyms for you. The distinction between a 200-hour and a 500-hour qualification is absolutely vital to understand, mostly because it's not just about logging more hours. It really reflects a profound difference in what a teacher knows, how they hold space in the room, and ultimately where their career can go.
Section 1. The RYT 200 Foundation, where teaching begins.
Okay, so the RYT 200. It is a structured, pretty demanding study of the absolute fundamentals. We're talking about asana and alignment, pranayama and meditation, anatomy and physiology, teaching methodology, and of course the cornerstones of yoga philosophy and ethics. As we often teach at Pratimoksha, this 200-hour program is designed to give you the exact tools you need to construct and lead a class safely. It gives you a really solid working understanding of the techniques you're transmitting, plus the why behind them. For most studio and local community spaces right here in Dubai, having a firm grasp of these fundamentals is literally exactly what you need to confidently step onto the mat as a teacher for the very first time. Now, the key concept I want you to grasp here is foundational competence. Essentially, this means having the ability to safely lead a class, attained through supervised study and assessment. But notice what's missing from that definition? Mastery. And you know what? It was never designed to be mastery. We often have new graduates come to us feeling like they've barely even scratched the surface of yoga. And we always tell them, hey, that feeling is completely accurate. And honestly, it's the exact right feeling to have. A teacher who finishes their 200-hour training believing they know everything is, well, they're probably not asking the right questions yet. This credential signals that you have a solid, safe foundation, not immediate mastery.
Section 2. Realities of the classroom, the unpredictable elements.
As literally any experienced teacher will tell you, the theory you learn in a 200-hour training meets its true test the exact moment you stand in a room full of actual, real-life students. Once you begin teaching, your knowledge gaps, they naturally start to reveal themselves. Picture this. A student walks in with a specific physical condition, say a slipped disc or a tricky knee injury. Suddenly, you need real, practical anatomical knowledge on the fly to keep them safe. Or maybe there's an unexpected class shift. You plan this fiery, intense vinyasa flow, but the room is just exhausted and desperately needs a restorative touch. Boom, you have to improvise your sequence on the spot. Or a student comes up to you after class with a deep philosophical question that demands way more than a surface-level textbook answer. And the thing is, these aren't rare scenarios. They happen in almost every single teaching session eventually. And this brings us to a really core philosophy here at our studio, beautifully established by our founder, Lalitha Viswanath. Over her amazing 19 years of teaching classical yoga here in Dubai, she has observed that the most meaningful development in teachers consistently happens after they begin teaching, not before. The 200 hours simply opens the door. The real learning, the messy, beautiful, challenging part of becoming a true instructor, that starts on the mat in front of your class. What you actually do with those unpredictable classroom realities totally determines how far you'll go. So think of your RYT 200 as planting a seed. It's establishing your foundational competence to safely lead a class. The RYT 500, on the other hand, is the deep-rooted tree. It represents deepened expertise. The 200-hour empowers you to lead a safe, thoughtful class, for sure. But the 500-hour is where that profound integration and steadiness really happens. It's the difference between just delivering a sequence you memorized and truly reading a room to give meaningful, highly individualized guidance.
Section 3. The RYT 500 Difference, Deepening Your Expertise.
Now, at Pratimoksha, our 500-hour training doesn't just hand you a brand new textbook of poses and say, good luck. We ask much harder, much more profound questions based entirely on your real-world experience.
Our curriculum actively expands into advanced sequencing and, crucially, the critical reasoning behind how practices are built for different bodies. We revisit classical texts like the Yoga Sutras, but this time you have the context of actual teaching experience, allowing for real, practical application. Under Lalitha's expert guidance, we train you to safely teach specific populations. We're talking seniors, prenatal clients, corporate groups, and folks with injuries. Plus, you undergo supervised teaching with incredibly structured, detailed feedback, alongside really deep dives into professional ethics and communication. So isn't just more information, it's the structured integration of knowledge, tested against your actual time in the classroom.
The absolute game changer here is integration under pressure. A 200-hour program rarely has the time to really do this, but the 500-hour is built entirely on this cycle, testing your ideas against your teaching experience and then restudying them with that very experience serving as your context. That cycle is exactly what creates a teacher who stays totally steady in all those unpredictable situations we talked about earlier. You learn how to adapt beautifully when a class doesn't go as planned.
Section 4. Professional Teaching in Dubai. Elevating the Standard.
The UAE wellness industry has just expanded tremendously, and the country is actively working to become a true global wellness hub. And they're doing that by raising the standards of instruction, not just churning out a higher volume of teachers. In our highly discerning local market, corporate programs, hospital settings, and professional studios are increasingly preferring or honestly outright requiring the YACEP 500. Why is that? Because this credential clearly signals a readiness to teach diverse populations safely. It proves to employers that you aren't just equipped for a general adult drop-in class, but that you have the true depth required to handle specialized professional wellness environments.
And I want you to just keep this number in your head for a second. 2,000. If your long-term professional path involves eventually leading your own accredited teacher training programs, you're going to need to become an E-RYT 500. That's an experienced registered yoga teacher. That designation requires your 500-hour training plus 2,000 hours of documented teaching experience over at least 4 years. Wow, right? It is definitely a marathon, not a sprint. And that entire journey begins with the 200-hour and really accelerates with the 500-hour.
Section 5. Timing your next step. When to advance.
So you're probably wondering, when is the right time to actually advance? Well, there's a really common misconception out there that you should wait until you feel entirely ready to take the 500-hour course. But as we constantly tell our teachers here, the 500-hour is not a reward for time served. It's an investment in what is already happening in the room. That magical feeling of 100% readiness? Yeah, it rarely arrives on its own. The best time to advance is actually when you're teaching consistently and you're starting to notice exactly what you don't know. When those knowledge gaps make themselves glaringly obvious in the classroom and you feel genuinely, deeply curious about filling them, bingo, that is your cue.
Now, between your 200-hour and your 500-hour, it is absolutely vital to make that gap productive rather than just long. Here is our direct advice at Pratimoksha for bridging that gap. First, maintain consistent teaching so you're always gaining that real-world experience. Second, keep up your own dedicated personal practice. A teacher must always remain a student first. And finally, read. Read way beyond the assigned training texts to constantly feed that curiosity.
Well, as we wrap up our explainer today, we wholeheartedly invite you to explore our structured programs, or even just book a trial session to experience the calm, empowering Pratimoksha environment firsthand. Whether you're looking to start your foundational RY 200 or you feel ready to elevate your expertise with the RYT 500, we would be incredibly honored to guide you on that path. But before you go, I want you to ask yourself this. Are you content just teaching yoga poses, or are you ready to start truly teaching people? If you're ready to find out, we really look forward to seeing you on the mat. Thank you so much for learning with us today.